Today on CountryCast, we're going to be taking a look into some of country music's biggest songs. Now, it may be shocking to find that these songs we are about to get into are not actually the originals, but were made famous later on when covered by some of country music's biggest stars. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First up is the song Fancy. Fancy was originally written and recorded by none other than Bobby Gentry in the year 1969. Then, in 1990, Reba McEntire would release her album titled Rumor Has It, where Fancy was a listed track on the record. And in 1991, Reba McEntire would take Fancy and make it a hit, taking it to number 8 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart. Reba McEntire clearly did the song justice and made it her own, especially when she would reveal her infamous beautiful red dress halfway through the song when performing on stage. Now next up is Achy, Breaky Heart. Achy, Breaky Heart was written by songwriter Don Von Tress in 1990 in his sister's basement, where it was originally titled Don't Tell My Heart. Von Tress told Billboard, "My wife had given me a new amplifier for my birthday, and I was just fooling around on the guitar and drum machine." Von Tress's song would be first introduced to the Oak Ridge Boys, however they would pass on recording it due to Oak Ridge Boys' lead singer Dwayne Allen not being fond of the lyrics Achy Breaky. Then, in 1991, the song would then be recorded by the country trio the Marcy Brothers on their second studio album, which was self-titled. However, the song never gained any momentum. Then, in 1992, Billy Ray Cyrus recorded the song for his debut album titled Some Gave All. Billy Ray Cyrus's version was just a tad bit different from the Marcy Brothers. When Billy Ray recorded the song, the lyrics had changed from My Achin' Breakin' Heart to the infamous My Achy Breaky Heart. Cyrus's version would then be titled Achy Breaky Heart and not the original title, Don't Tell My Heart. Billy Ray's version would take off, where it went number 1 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart and went platinum in the United States and 3 times platinum in Australia. This would be the first country music single to go platinum since Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton's hit single Islands in the Stream back in 1983. However, Achy Breaky Heart has taken its fair share of criticism as well. The music magazine known as Blender ranked Achy Breaky Heart as the second worst song of all time out of every genre. That's quite the ranking, since it had so much commercial success and is known as one of the most infamous line dancing songs. Achy Breaky Heart may have gone to 3 different artists, but the song found its home with Billy Ray Cyrus. Moving on to the song titled Best I Ever Had. Best I Ever Had was originally recorded by the alternative rock band known as Vertical Horizon. The song was released in 1999 by the rock band on their studio album titled Everything You Want. Then in 2005, Best I Ever Had would be re-recorded by Gary Allan, where it would be a single from his Tough All Over album. Gary Allan's version would go all the way to number 7 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart and become one of his most beloved songs. Vertical Horizon and Gary Allan would both do well with the release of this single for their respective genres. Now to one of my favorite songs, Old Red. Old Red might be one badass bloodhound, but one badass possum originally recorded the song about the dog. That's right, Mr. George Jones. George Jones originally recorded Old Red in 1990 for his album titled You Oughta Be Here With Me. Kenny Rogers would then cover the song in 1993 on his record titled If Only My Heart Had a Voice. And finally, Old Red would be re-recorded by Blake Shelton in 2001 for his self-titled debut album. Old Red is definitely a favorite amongst his fans. Shelton had this to say to CMT in an interview about how Old Red has stood the test of time. Old Red is so unique, and it's definitely stood the test of time. It's not anywhere close to being one of my biggest radio hits. Old Red peaked at number 12 or number 13, but for whatever reason, over time, it has become my signature song. In the concerts, from the time I walk on stage until the time I do it, people are shouting, "Sing Old Red, damn it, that's why we came." It's shocking to me, but it's a good thing to have one of those songs, a signature thing that doesn't get old. You can have a big hit like The Baby, and for a year after it was a hit, people are excited when you play it. Now, as big as that was at radio, Old Red is 4 times as big live, because it never gets old. It's such a unique song. It's fun. I don't know what it is about it, but it has that magic. Without the songwriters in the original recording by the Possum George Jones, we would have never had the opportunity to hear Blake Shelton's version of Old Red. Next on the list is the song My Maria. My Maria was originally written by country artist B.W. Stevenson and Daniel Moore. Buckwheat Stevenson recorded and released My Maria in the year 1973. The song would reach number 1 on Billboard's U.S. Adult Contemporary charts and be a hit single for Stevenson. Brooks and Dunn then covered the song in 1996 for their album titled Borderline. Brooks and Dunn's version would go number 1 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart, and they also received a Grammy Award for Best Country Performance by a group when performing the single. Stevenson's and Brooks and Dunn's version were received very well from fans. Let's face it, anything put out by Brooks and Dunn is just an instant classic. Now moving on to an artist who has covered quite a few songs, and that's Jason Aldean. Jason Aldean may have made the song Amarillo Sky the popular song that it is today, but where did it originally come from? Amarillo Sky was written by John Rich and Big Kenny from the country duo Big and Rich, as well as Rodney Clawson and Bert Pursley. John Rich originally recorded Amarillo Sky for his solo debut album Rescue Me in 2001. Then in 2002, country band known as McBride and the Ride released their album titled Amarillo Sky, where the song was a listed track and a single from the record. Jason Aldean would then cover the song in 2005 for his self-titled debut album. Jason Aldean also featured another cover on that same record, with the song being titled Asphalt Cowboy, which that song was originally recorded by Blake Shelton on his album titled The Dreamer in 2003. Aldean has taken many songs and made them his own throughout his career. Since summer is pretty much here, let's go ahead and talk about Alan Jackson's fun cover of Summertime Blues. Summertime Blues was originally recorded by rockabilly star Eddie Cochran. The song was released in 1958 and peaked number 8 on what is now known as Billboard's Hot 100 charts. However, Alan Jackson would cover the song in 1994, and it would be released as a single on his album titled Who I Am. Alan Jackson would take his version to number 1 on the Billboard country charts, and his album Who I Am has since went platinum 4 times. Alan Jackson will forever be a country artist that we want to live on forever on Music Row. And any cover he does is always gold. And don't forget about his cover of the hit song Papa Top. Now to the unique sound of Dwight Yoakam. Dwight Yoakam covered one of the king of rock and roll songs known as Little Sister. Little Sister was originally recorded by Elvis Presley and released as a single in 1961. Dwight Yoakam would record the song in 1987 for his album titled Hillbilly Deluxe. Elvis Presley is one of the all-time greats, and it's hard to top his voice, but there is no doubt that Dwight Yoakam revitalized the song and made it a hit once again. Now another legend to record an amazing cover is the Man in Black, Mr. Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash covered the song titled Hurt in 2002 towards the end of his incredible career. For his album titled American 4, The Man Comes Around. Hurt was originally recorded by the rock band 9 Inch Nails for their album titled The Downward Spiral, which was released in 1994. Johnny Cash would take the song where it was filled with nothing but pure, raw emotions. And last but not least, we got the king of country, George Strait. George Strait made the song Amarillo By Morning an instant classic, but it was originally written by Terry Stafford and Paul Frazier. Stafford would release the song in 1973 for his album, Say, Has Anyone Seen My Sweet Gypsy Rose? Amarillo By Morning has been covered by several other artists, but it was King George that made it famous. In 1982, Strait would release his album titled Straight from the Heart, where Amarillo By Morning would be a single from the album. There is no doubt that King George's version is one that is widely known by fans. Amarillo By Morning was meant to be written so George Strait could give the world a version to remember. There are several country songs out there that have been covered or not originally written by the artists who made them famous. For instance, Rascal Flatts' Life is a Highway, the Dixie Chicks, and Landslide, which was originally recorded by Fleetwood Mac. The list just goes on, and we could talk about them for days to come. So let us know in the comments what your favorite song is that was covered by a country artist, or songs that just shouldn't have been covered at all. So that's it for today's video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down at the bottom and turn those notifications on for breaking updates on your favorite country artists and all the news coming right out of Music City. Y'all stay country.